Hello and welcome to another Acid Soul commentary. Today I'm going to discuss three C's: community, communality, and committee. And to warn you, I gotta say that I will begin with a little preaching about the negative sides of the current state of RuneScape community, so you have been warned, and let the moralization begin, I guess. So, as you have quite possibly seen, heard, and experienced yourself, the community of RuneScape players, like any other gaming community nowadays really, seems to suffer from something that I jocularly tend to call, get ready, self-aggravating frustration of postmodern 21st century youth culture. And simple version of it could be attitudes that can be verbalized as something like, give me what I want, right here, right now, fuck you. And I have made plenty of observations in OSRS that this type of attitude often tends to manifest itself as offensive use of language, recursive arguing, scamming, spamming, crashing, trolling. The list goes on forever, but generalization of this is that in these situations too many people choose to just come and do rather than asking questions first and considering the other players co-equal wanderers of this pixel world that we are also enthusiastic about. Enthusiastic despite all its flaws. But a relevant question to ask here next is why the condition of this community is so ridiculous. Well, I mean, it can't be all about just the inevitable side effect of competition. It has to be, in my opinion, just pure indifference and egoism, not giving a damn, basically. And deeper reasons for it can be found from that youth culture frustration hypothesis that I mentioned, or secularity, or any similar mumbo jumbo like that. But in this video I'm going to just stick to rambling only about surface level reasons which can be witnessed directly in the game. So anyways, I guess it's just that nothing really motivates to behave in a major way in RuneScape. Like, firstly, too many people don't seem to take the game seriously enough to a certain extent, and secondly, there's no direct reward for cooperative behavior due to the competitive nature of RuneScape, and thus it is far too easy to choose to behave in an immature way rather than mature way. There's simply no good punishment for it, and it is considered even natural to behave in a careless way like that. And moreover, there's a growing number of these extreme cases where for some people the game will always be that kindergarten where they don't have to care about the norms of good behavior and where they get to release some pressure by acting carelessly in a sanction-free environment. And a good example of this type of attitude and mindset could be, say, when an efficient hunter or miner or any efficient skiller who's doing a player reliant skill and who takes their skilling more or less seriously tries to maintain some sort of optimal XP rates, and then suddenly some person to whom RuneScape is just a game where they tend to mess around decides to come and have a little Friday fun or something and attempts to steal the efficient player's spot. Often this crasher could have just switched worlds, but no. According to him, he doesn't have the care, and the gaming experience of the efficient player is ruined. More instances could be, say, when people discuss about future updates and eventually vote on them, and the bottom line is that they don't have to consider the needs of, say, some minority in the game, or vice versa, the common good for the game, if such phenomenon even exists. And of course, there's also case-by-case instances where this immature behavior isn't really immature behavior, but natural effect of competition that a major player should just deal with. And, well, for example, RCPK. Still, this is very debatable, of course, and that's why I named it a case by instance, because where do you draw the line? Which is competition and which is just morally wrong? But anyways, at any rate, the generalization of these reasons why the condition of the community is the way it is that when nothing motivates to act in a major way, the fact that cooperation always takes two parties remains too often forgotten, and in extreme cases, problems keep feeding themselves when two opposites don't even try to understand what the other side is trying to say, and this self-aggravating nature of immaturity, or what could be called easy behavior, because I think it's an way easier alternative to behave in an immature way rather than in a mature way. So this attitude of easy behavior seems to rage in RS community nowadays. And, well, I guess it's another question whether whether the condition is really bad or not. Well, okay, I guess it's time to put end to this moralization and cynicism here and talk about the actual subject of this video that I wanted to highlight. And after all, it's my personal view to see the RuneScape community in such a bad light, and as such, I'm going to say that through all this ill behavior shines a minority of players whose existence motivates me to keep playing. When these people are being used offensive language at or trolled, they choose to not join the pointless play because they realize that it's like screams at deaf ears. If they witness a recursive debate where two parties won't listen to each other, they either choose to ignore the whole thing or alternatively suggest a diplomatical solution. If they are crushed, they won't call the crusher names. If they get scammed, they don't revenge, they just report. And these are the major players of RuneScape community. If you happen to know one of them, consider yourself lucky to have them as a friend, because even if nothing motivates them to behave in the game like they do, they still amazingly choose to do so. Thus, a good question to ask is, why would anybody want to do that when it's apparently more beneficial to just act like the other player was just an emotionless pixel dummy until otherwise proven? Well, they say that meaning of life is what you make of it and who people do you gather around you. So I guess the same thought kinda can be adapted here, because maturity is pretty much a sense of relativity and respect that stems from empathy. It's ultimately virtual, and its wonderfulness has to be realized yourself. It's, in my opinion, about decisions, and it's for sure not about being a soft person. It's basically growing up as a person. And, well, if you want to find direct reasons why to act in a mature way, well, it may be a small contribution to the well-being of the community, but at least a good feeling that doing a good deed could be very rewarding. I mean, it's not like you had to be a perfectionist saint all the time. A few major deeds is enough, and there will always be bad days, and it's just humane. But when it comes to improving the state and the spirit in a community, it's a small things are a great start. And also the fact that you would probably be one of the few in the whole community pledging to committee might give you a nice exclusive and neat feeling as well. So I guess altruism has its inner egoism aspect to it too. But I guess that's a whole another story, and I'm not gonna go there right now. But nonetheless, I guess it's surely debatable whether maturity is something that everyone should ultimately aim at, because maybe it's just a force that slows down a community's development. I don't know. I mean, where would you draw the line? Like, where are you supposed to see a selfish act just as a competition, and where morally wrong? And this, yeah, I guess I'm not gonna go too deep within the answers, so I'm gonna leave some room for thought here. So feel free to comment your thoughts or ideas about the state of the current RuneScape community in the comment section. And yeah, this was just my peculiar way of giving a tribute to all the well-behaving players in RuneScape. And this was not supposed to be an argumentative video that would explain why the community is really bad and why everyone should act like a damn saints. It was just a tribute to all those people who maybe recognize themselves from those attributes when I defined what's a mature player. And yeah, I hope that this might motivate people to behave in a mature way, I guess. But yeah, this had a lot of generalizations again, but yeah, I guess it would be interesting to hear opposite views as well. And yeah, this is it for this video, and I was As It So. See you in the next videos. Bye.